So I want to write more reviews, but after my one on Lapphona, which I will link here, I just sort of never committed to any as hard as I did that one. There was a review of breasts and eggs in the works at some point, and I sort of just scrapped that. I made a whole plan, and then I just like never carried out the actual review. I never finished writing it, I never actually filmed it. But hopefully after this one, I will actually keep writing some more reviews, because that is something that I made as a sort of resolution for myself and the type of videos that I wanted to make. I wanted to make videos about one specific piece of media and reviewing it as a whole, and trying not to make it as a recap either, just actual reviewing. I know I could probably just do this as a form of writing, but I just didn't want to. That's not what I do. I do this. So I want to see if it works and if I like doing it. So yeah, I'm going to do one on small things like these. I read Foster earlier this year by Keegan, and I really liked it. So I picked this up. I actually picked up So Late in the Day first, and then I picked this one up because I was like, both those are really great. Let's keep it going. Focuses on Christianity as a force of power. The book follows the lead up to Christmas in a small town in Ireland, immediately crafting an atmosphere where the omnipresence of Irish Christianity can creep in. A country historically divided by religion must here reconcile with a more internalized problem. Community built on church and class is signaled to be easy to control. Our protagonist Furlong is a family man who runs deliveries and works with the timber company. With his 5 daughters, one of whom is old enough to help with his books, and wife Eileen, who runs his house like the Navy, he is reasonably content with the current course of his life. The novel flits between the couple discussing money and debt, something that is highlighted as pressing, particularly to indicate their middling working class position, something that is sort of fluctuating as they get richer. Small Things Like These explores the uncomforting feeling of helplessness and how this is exacerbated by the righteousness of religion and community reliance. The local area of New Ross is one of both support and constant policing, a place of quiet enduring that everyone politely complies with. Furlong's personal unraveling begins as he remembers a girl he once met at a local nunnery, who turned to him with a damning request that he helps her drown. Although the church plays a significant part in the story's theme of control, it is wealth and inadvertently class that spins the web together. Born to a single mother and never having known his father, Furlong is raised by a woman who is working as maid in Mrs. Wilson's house. Mrs. Wilson, a benevolent older woman in town, houses and employs them. Eileen describes her as a woman with a big house, farm and pension, who was one of the few women on earth who could do as she pleased. Furlong's exchange with the girl has rippled through his life as a manifestation of guilt, perhaps an aftertaste of a Catholic upbringing that lingers, or even a palpable sense of morality instilled by those who have been good to him, like his mother, Mrs. Wilson, and the big house's driver Ned. Though his willingness to think about things that he has no obligation towards seems to also stem from a childhood of shame. Jeered and mocked for his poverty and lack of a father as a child in puritanical 1960s Ireland, Furlong has seemingly outgrown his sense of shame as a result of an overload from his past. Eileen, however, seems to be riddled with shame, but also burdened with a more pragmatic mind. Her belief is that they cannot afford to lose the support of the people around them. The church runs this community, as Mrs. Kehoe, a local pop owner, later reminds him also. Mrs. Kehoe guides him towards complacency, warning him that messing with the church and the nuns who have a finger in every pie is a dangerous decision, especially since Furlong's girls go to St. Margaret's, a girls' Catholic school, only a wall away from the local nunnery. Determining your good future in New Cross means being compliant and complacent towards the Magdalene laundries, one of which is run by the nuns in town, all of the while being signed off by the priests, the rumour mill in town, and the people. You must be accepting and level-headed in the face of the forced labour of young women. Teen mothers and wayward girls, sent to be exterminated from visible society, instead led to run the basic function of washing clothes and floors for whoever could afford to drop their linens by the nunnery. Furlong, now far past his days of never getting a good or preferred Christmas gift, can now drop off his own laundry. He spends much of his time reminiscing the difference between himself and his children, who, while humble, see his own desire for something like a puzzle of a farmhouse, which he was never even able to afford, to be a trivial present. He sees then that he has done well by them. This guilt he has is now no longer chained to shame, but it unfurls when he meets another girl, this time locked in a shed at the nunnery. He doesn't remain complacent here and begins to inquire, a bleeding heart and well-meaning exchange, which he inevitably leaves when the nun eventually tires him of questions. when Christmas mass becomes too important and when it becomes a little too uncomfortable to sit in the tension. He begins in this moment to question what any of it is ever for. He found himself asking, was there any point in being alive without helping one another? Was it possible to carry on along through an entire life without once being brave enough to go against what was there, and yet call yourself a Christian and face yourself in the mirror? These thoughts compel him back to help, to be morally good, to feel light and tall with some fresh, new, unrecognisable joy in his heart. The history soft enough to mould a person of dignity leads him here. This too is a major aspect of his ability to non-conform. He is a man. There is no danger in confronting a nun. There is no harm in dragging a poor girl through the streets in a fatal plan to save her. He has no Christmas dinner to prepare or presents to buy. Eileen has taken those burdens from him, letting his mind wander how to be better for society. In the end, it is his girls that will suffer from the brunt at their school or their lack of future stability from his decision. Women, the nuns, are doing this to other women, the girls as a service to patriarchy, purity and false ordeals of sexual promiscuity run clean through the story. Furlong instead can feel the righteousness of making the moral decision, saving the one girl and hopefully inciting change within society. The through line of community, judgment and power is powerful here. The nuns stay the evil, the church also. Furlong, with his changed mind, does not. Married to conformist Eileen Furlong, does not understand what Eileen thinks she must make mince pies in her spare time for the family Furlong, ability to leave the girl begging to be drowned Furlong. People recently are increasingly calling for a sense of community, but we must always remember the limitations of it and how we must rise past those. The laundries are closed, Catholicism still reigns supreme, Ireland and moral good are still as loose as ever. Long live supremacy in one way. What has Furlong actually changed? How will religion ever square up to creating the good person? And how will the good person ever square up to religion? In one way, that should be the end of my review, but since I have written this, the small things like these first look for the movie has dropped. Cillian Murphy, hot off his Oscar win, will be playing Furlong. I did, however, imagine a much larger man, like a bigger, taller man playing this, you know, hulking over the timber and coal. You know, that's kind of who I pictured as Furlong. Though, having just one for a portrayal of depressing earnestness, I can't imagine anything but good things from him. I'm also not sure how long this film is going to be. Is there going to be more added to the story, since this is quite a short story, and I think it's going to be a proper feature-length film. Regardless, I will be seated, both because I enjoyed the book, but also because I'm a Cillian Day One stan. Yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll stick to my guns and actually write some more reviews, because that's what I actually want to do with my life. And like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're really about it, and I will see you next time. I hope you have a great day.